What's up guys, today we have Chewy on the show and I'm going to break down our role. I asked you guys what Jiu-Jitsu YouTuber you'd like to see me collaborate with and the suggestions were pretty unanimous. Everyone said Chewy, so I made it happen. I went to Tamarindo, Costa Rica and participated in Chewy's Jiu-Jitsu camp and I had a ton of fun. If somehow you're unaware of who Chewy is, he's one of the top Jiu-Jitsu YouTubers on the platform and offers great advice and great technique. But you might not be aware, Chewy's also a fierce competitor. If you look at some of the guys Chewy's beaten like Lucas Hocha, you'll see Chewy's not just some YouTuber, he's really good. I mean, Lucas Hocha is very high level and has beaten some of the very elite competitors like Clark Gracie, Tim Spriggs, and Dylan Dennis. I know Jiu-Jitsu math is pretty unreliable, but my point is Chewy's definitely highly skilled. Chewy even won bronze at the 2018 ADCC trials, only losing to former Who's Number 1 champion Tim Spriggs. Chewy consistently wins his weight division and the absolute division at IBJJF tournaments. Considering how good Chewy is, I knew he'd make for a very close and exciting match for you guys to watch. I still worked the whole time I was in Costa Rica because I appreciate and am dedicated to you guys, especially my patrons and sponsors who really make cool stuff like this possible, and the sponsor of today's video is Minimal Snacks. Minimal Snacks is a superfood innovation startup at a Northwestern university. 3 kids with a dream to help people reach their potential by being more conscious about what they're putting into their bodies. One of the founders, Ryan, is actually a big fan of the channel and hit this beautiful fake art pull ankle pick after seeing it on the channel. They invent delicious, healthy snacks with a small number of recognizable ingredients. Their first product is minimal air-dried beef, a savory umami spin on regular beef jerky. It tastes way more delicious and is way better for your body. Protein snacks you've seen at the grocery store are often chalky, taste like cardboard, or full of artificial ingredients. Minimal snacks are 23 grams of protein and 0 grams of sugar and only 195 calories. Use code Jordan20 for 20% off your order at minimalsnacks.com/Jordan. They're doing a limited run of 1,000 packs and an exclusive discount just for you, so get that beef as soon as possible. So let's get started with the roll. We slap and bump and I'm looking to put Chewy on his back. So lift up on his leg and enter into the guard, but leave my leg too close to his head and he grabs it to try to get underneath me, likely to enter into X guard like you see me do here. I keep heavy and readjust to stop him, but run the risk of taking an underhook as I post out like this. And now I just work to clear my leg of his grip before advancing. My right arm controls the hips, but I'd rather have an underhook. As Chewy frames to make space, he may be able to swim in one for himself, so I disengage to be safe and look to adjust to a better passing position. I'm standing a bit too upright, so I lower my level as I risk Chewy grabbing my legs and wrestling me. I get my underhook and try to knee slide to my left, but face too much resistance, so I switch to the side smash on the right, but wasn't able to get Chewy's right knee in front of my chest, as you see me do here. I fear Chewy's overhook could give me some trouble, so again I disengage to reset and now try to knee slide, but Chewy frames with both his knee shield and his arms, and you can't go through frames, you must go around them, so I switch my hips to beat the frames. I grab Chewy's head to put him on his back, but Chewy lifts me forward, which forces me to let go and post my hands on the mat. As you can see, I'm being very careful with how much weight I commit to Chewy, because not only is Chewy very good at Jiu-Jitsu, but he's also incredibly strong, and you can really feel that power in his guard. He's really good at tying up the upper body and has super strong legs for lifting people up. Very similar to me really, we actually have very similar styles and attributes. Chewy's trying to sweep me to my right using his elbow to direct my head there, so I keep my feet close so they're acting as posts in the direction he wants to sweep. Chewy instead now tries to grab my legs, but I hide them and then make sure to get my base back as soon as possible. But now he's got double underhooks, which isn't great for me. He tries to grab my legs again as I posture up, but again I hide them. I'll just let this play through and then explain it in slow-mo. I push off Chewy's head to break the connection he has in my body. He notices how close my legs are and tries to sweep me backwards. I'm able to step out of the grip, but Chewy's using the opportunity to come up and likely try to wrestle me. But because I immediately put my weight on him, he's forced to fall back into his guard, and as he does, I roll into the front headlock. Chewy does a great job of using his underhook to force my weight off of him, which causes me to transition to north-south, from having a hard time keeping him on his back, and he manages to catch my leg with his leg to put me into his half guard butterfly. Chewy manages to get an underhook, which I don't super mind because the front headlock is such a strong part of my game. And by the way, I'm almost done editing my no-gi chokes BJJ Fanatics instructional, which includes my front headlock system. I try to use my forearm to push Chewy's knee down so I can step over to mount, but my forearm slides off his thigh, and this is what it would have looked like if it was successful. I'll just let this play through and then explain it in slow-mo. Chewy starts to elevate me with his butterfly hook, and instead of fighting it, I use it to roll forward and snatch up his neck for the front headlock. And this is such a beautiful sequence from Chewy. Look how when I go to transition, he blocks my arm so I can't overhook and pushes me forward and himself back. This is exactly how to effectively use underhooks for taking the back or using them to get to your knees. If I stay on my knees, he'll just wrestle me down so I just stand up. He likely would have been able to knee tap me like this if I stayed on my knees, and poor Joey, it seems like every example I've used is of him. He's actually one of the co-hosts of my podcast, Jordan Talks Jiu-Jitsu, so make sure to check that out. Chewy is winning the grip fight, as I often don't work super hard to hand fight when wrestling, because I really enjoy having my opponent shoot or attack in general and then countering. Chewy goes for an arm drag on me, and I just make sure to keep myself centered with him. You can never let someone take an angle on you when wrestling. It is so hot and humid in Costa Rica, and especially for a Canadian like me, so I don't want to get too tired from wrestling, so I just sit to my guard, and my main objective is to get an underhook so I can set up a sweep. Overhooks aren't bad, but against a larger and stronger opponent, underhooks are definitely better. The way I'm positioned, I could possibly butterfly sweep Chewy to my right, but Chewy's keeping all his weight to his right to counter. Now he pins my arm and starts to try to create an angle, but because my hips aren't controlled, I can follow him and stay centered. The goal from bottom close guard is to break posture, so I pull Chewy's head down, but he hits me with the old fist to the chin to make space between us. And now he's looking to posture and stand up, but needs control of my wrist first. I need control of his wrist or arms to attack him. Right now it's a grip battle before either of us can proceed safely. Chewy wins the grip battle and can proceed, as I have no meaningful grips on him, but I'm ready to transition anyways. Watch how I retain my guard to make sure I keep connection with my feet on the inside. Since he's trying to move to the outside of my legs, logically it makes sense to keep my legs on the inside. I really wanted an underhook, but end up settling for an overhook, and I don't mind that Chewy has a bit of an underhook on me, because I'm making sure that he can't grab my head by blocking with my right arm. If he had my head and an underhook, I'd be screwed. You can never let someone grab your head. Chewy leaves some space for me to get my underhook, but as I go for it, he pins me down with his head. I need a deep underhook, not a shallow one. A deep one would allow me to get onto my side and onto my knees. Again, I blocked Chewy from grabbing my head, and I might be able to get an underhook if I lead with my elbow, but Chewy stays too tight. I'd love to get a sweep like this using my overhook, but I know it's going to be risky. This whole half guard exchange is a grip fight, and let's let it play out a little bit and watch what it is that advances position. And while we watch, let me know how many gyms you've rolled at. I've probably been to at least 20 or maybe even 30. I love traveling and rolling with new people. And let me know if you'd attend if I hosted my own jiu-jitsu vacation camp. Alright, let's see what advances position here. It's my underhook, and once I have it, I need to get his weight off of me to make it useful. So I bring him to the other side and attempt a butterfly sweep, but Chewy disengages by standing up just like I did earlier. I leave my head too much past my knees, which is a recipe for getting guillotined, but I posture my head up quickly as Chewy tries to attack my neck. Again, I sit to my guard to conserve energy in the heat, and Chewy pushes me to my back, and look how I pummel my legs to the inside to improve my position. Look at the difference a subtle movement like leg pummeling did for me. On the left, it'd be hard for Chewy to pass with those grips, but on the right, he has pretty good passing grips, especially for a Toriano pass. You need to prioritize having inside position in general, but especially to retain your guard. Chewy takes those initial grips again and attempts a Toriano pass, and to retain my guard, I just make sure to keep my hips facing him and frame with my arms, as well as blocking the space between my knee and elbow. That inside position is what he needs to establish side control. I attempt a triangle, and normally I'd like to grab my shin right away to control posture, but I can't reach it as Chewy uses his fist in my belly to make it hard to pull him down and break his posture. At this point, there's nothing I can really do to stop Chewy from standing and end up falling on my back. And again, to retain my guard, making sure I keep one or both legs on the inside of Chewy's legs. So we're back in half guard, and remember, underhooks are king in no-gi jiu-jitsu. Chewy's trying to get one for himself, and that's why he's manipulating my left arm to try and create space. But I'll take an overhook if it's all I can get. I want you to watch this very carefully. I have my arm on the inside, but why don't I take the underhook that I've been waiting for? It's because Chewy's weight is still very much on me. Watch how I'm patient and wait for his weight to come off to the side before seizing the opportunity. That patience paid off, and look how I get my underhook deeper and deeper, and I'll wait for slow-mo to explain exactly what's happening. Chewy tries to counter my underhook by backstepping, but I block his hips with my left leg, and now I use my underhook to come up and initially try to knee tap before coming around to the body lock. When I lift him, I really prioritize angling his hips to the side, so there's no way he can post his feet on the mat to stop the throw. This is my favorite way of finishing this type of throw because it's a gentle landing for your partner, and you land on the mat with their back. It's a lot easier putting in your top hook rather than your bottom hook, so I need to bring Chewy to the other side so my bottom hook becomes my top hook. Chewy is stopping me from putting in my top hook using his hand. I'm super dead at this point, and I'm sure Chewy is too. And like I said, it's super hot in Costa Rica. So I just wait until he commits his hands to my arm to put in my top hook. And when I do, I cross my feet because I like to make white belts and blue belts freak out and tell me I'm doing something wrong. Chewy hits a beautiful escape by clearing my top arm and then controlling the wrist to prevent me from regaining upper body control. Watch how I use my right butterfly hook to keep Chewy's leg elevated so he can't come up on top. If he can't put his feet on the mat, then he can't stand up. I want to say big thank you to Chewy for doing this with me. I always want to give the YouTube Jiu-Jitsu community what they want to see, and I'm really glad we can make this happen. It was a pleasure rolling with such a beast, and if you're still here, please leave a comment or fist bump, and I'll see you guys next time.